So I want us to just hone in on who's listening today. And the reason that I wanted to bring you on specifically is because I hear daily from women in our community who are in crisis, whether it's in their
Mhm.
family, it's a health crisis, or an emotional crisis, or a crisis in their relationship,
Mhm.
and they are feeling overwhelmed, and yet they have this big dream to have a business, specifically an online business, which is appropriate right now. And they and this woman in particular doesn't know sometimes where to start or what to aim her arrow at. So maybe you can speak into that I'm in crisis and yet I still have this big dream. How can I move forward, even if it's just, one baby step at a time?
Right. Well, I think you took the words right out of my mouth. Whether it's growing a business or whether it's trying to figure out how to get through one of the most difficult times, baby steps is the key to the bigger picture. The big results. And um, not to just keep going back to what I've been through, but I think being able to relate is so important when we as women talk to one another, and because no matter who we're talking to, we always put ourselves in the other person's shoes, and we bring all of our stuff, our baggage, our personalities, our characteristics into the conversation, and we just, even though we may be talking to someone, it's like we're looking in a mirror, really, and we're hearing the words coming out of their mouth, and we're transforming it and putting ourselves in that situation. So with that said, when I was touching on the really difficult time that we all went through, we had all of those things that you said: the health crisis, the business crisis, the relationship. Our marriage was on the verge of non-existent. Um, my son's health, he struggles with epilepsy, so we were in the hospital, and business was just not doing well for us as a family. And the only good thing that was going on was my business and my online business, and it kept us going. And when I think back to those times, there were very scary times, and there were very scary days that I remember waking up going, there's nothing worth living for. And my heart breaks for those that are going through a really hard time, no matter what it is, if it's health or if it's business or family, relational or whatever, because everyone handles stress different. Everyone handles problems different. And no matter at what level your struggle is, I think the common denominator in pushing through that time is finding out what brings you joy. And I don't mean going and getting your nails done. I don't mean having to go buy a new car. It could look different for so many people. And that could mean getting up and having a hot cup of coffee and that just setting your tone. It's about finding those little things, those baby steps that keep you going. And I heard some of the best advice, and I use that in my business and my personal life. And I carry it with me every day. And she said, you don't have to fix everything today. You don't. And if there's someone listening that feels like they have to fix it, or if they feel like they have to do it all, or they are a perfectionist, hearing something like that from someone that has been through a really hard time, say, you don't have to fix it all today. Just do what you can today to make it to the next. And that has saved me in so many different areas in life. And I just want to encourage someone and tell them, you don't have to fix it. You don't have to fix it all today, or just take that baby step and find whatever it is that brings you a little bit of joy to help you carry that next step through. Again, whether that is in business or in personal life.
Mm-hmm. And they're so enmeshed in many ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Especially now when we're all working from home and our children are underfoot.
yeah. I've always, as a blogger, and I have always worked from home. So I don't know if you've seen that meme or that GIF floating around that was there for a while, when it said, I don't know, it was just a funny face of saying, me when I realized that my normal everyday lifestyle is what quarantine looks like. And it was like that I've been living quarantined since 2011 because I don't leave home, So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nice because we're all on the same like playing field.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I love that you're set up to really support women right now during quarantine because you've been living it for years now.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It
Living
feels
it.
like others are catching up with what I'm doing. Yeah.
Exactly.
um,
So,
I
mhm.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think now is a really good time. And I think a lot of women are kind of exploring the idea of what they can do from home.
Yes.
Um, and what I love about being at home and online business is that the options are endless. And no matter who you are or what you're into or what you love, there's something out there that if starting something like a business is for you, there's something out there that you can do it on.
Hmm. So, can you share a little bit about how you would support someone who is, and maybe, knows that they have a blog, knows that they want to increase readership and then begin to make money? How would you start to support that woman?
Well, if someone were in that position, what I specialize in is helping people grow their online business and their blog. And as you know, that can look different on so many levels. It can be I really actually specialize more with creative business owners. I would much rather, and that's by choice preference. I would much rather work with someone who's creative in the creative online world than say a vacuum salesman or something. um, so what I would do starting out with them and what I do with my clients is we look at the big picture and we say, okay, well, what do you have so far? We start there because if we can use what you already have, whether it's a website or a social media platform, we want to keep that in mind because we want to utilize what we have without going backwards and starting over. And then the next thing that we do is we focus on what makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing about it? Because let's face it, if you don't enjoy it and you're not passionate about it and you're going to get burnt out on it really quick, your business is probably not going to be as successful as it would be if you actually enjoyed doing it. When you think about it, when we enjoy doing something, we do it naturally. We talk about it naturally. And in turn, when you're talking about a business, your business is going to grow because you're naturally focused on it and it just again comes so natural. So we focus on, okay, well, are you already doing what you love? And then the next step is, do we figure out what is already working, whether that is a certain product that you're selling is already working, or maybe it's a blog post on your blog that's already driving a ton of traffic. Well, that means maybe you should write more blog posts related to that, or whatever it may be. And then after that, then we focus on expanding the business. What related products could you create? What other services could you offer? And we just kind of do a building block, stepping stone process from there. And the beautiful thing about it is it's not a cookie cutter. Every person's different. And that's what I personally enjoy. I can work with someone who creates hand lettered prints and sell them on Etsy, or I can work with a quilter, or I can work with somebody like me who's just a lifestyle blog that talks about quick and easy recipes for moms and organization tips. It keeps the creative juices flowing, and no matter what topic or business it is, there is a certain process that we follow to help you achieve those goals to be successful, but it may not look like the girl sitting next to you.
I love that. I almost see you walking this woman over the bridge, and
Oh, yeah.
you help her gather the tools she already has. Like, she
Yes.
is enough just as she is. She doesn't need anything else
No.
before taking that first step onto the bridge. And then I see you linking arms with her and walking over the bridge and looking at
Yeah.
all, the water, the tumultuous water, including all the crisis underneath. And yet here you are continuing steadily over the bridge. And I know that that's what I want, because walking over those troubled waters alone is so scary. And a fear is what, in my experience, keeps most women from really pursuing their dream, whether it's a dream of finding a perfect mate or owning a business or having
Mm-hmm.
children, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
that fear of like, what if I can't, or I'm not good enough?
Right. And you know, you touched on so many things with that, and I love that because I'm working with a client now. She actually messaged me this morning, and this is our second month working together. And her goal, I asked her at the beginning, I said, what is your goal for this month? And she said, I want to make back the money I spent to hire you. And I said, okay, let's do that. And so she messaged me this morning and said, I just had my second sale. That's 2 days in a row. I haven't done that in a very long time. And she goes, I'm sorry, I won't keep telling you about the sales that I get. And I said, yes, you will, sister. I want to celebrate that with you because we're not in this alone, you know, and you don't have to pay somebody to be your best friend or your, you know, your mentor. And even I had a really big reality check yesterday, and I'll just share that because I think this is really important and in line with what we're talking about. But my business does well, right? I'm very thankful for it. Um, I thought I was making an income that was just unbelievable. Like, oh my gosh, I can support my family if I want. I can, you know, and I've had this mindset for so long until yesterday when I was in a Facebook group with other bloggers. And somebody posted a thread and said, just for fun, let's talk about how much our blogs make passively, you know, on their own, and start getting in the nitty gritty. And these comments just started coming in, and these women just sharing how much they made every month. And I'm sitting there going, what? And it was a reality check of, not that money matters,
Yeah.
but it was a reality check of, wow, my ceiling just raised, and I can't do this alone because I see what's possible in my business growth, and I need these women around me, and not so I can mooch off of them or anything like that, but I need this support from these talented women who are killing it in my business field, and I need them around me. And so you're talking about walking over the bridge and all this stuff going in. I mean, you can let so much get to you, but if you surround yourself with people that are encouraging, inspiring, and you do it with a mindset, I could have easily looked at that Facebook thread and went, oh, well, they must be, you know, and had a horrible attitude about it. But I chose to look at it and go, that's possible. Wow, what a mindset shift. And so this morning I reached out to 3 of them and said, I am so inspired by you. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing what you did. And now you set the bar for me to focus on my business even more. And just that community and that support and locking arms, like you said, is so valuable and important. And I love how I had that like gut wrenching reality check. Like, man, I thought I was killing it, which I am, and I am thankful. But I thought I had reached, you know, the level that I could only go to, and I hadn't.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much because it's a new paradigm, right?
Oh,
To compare yourself to someone else and not say, oh, I'm failing because I'm not there. But to do that mindset shift and to say, look how far I can go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And it's motivation, right?
Yes.
And again, when you combine that with something you love doing, it becomes easier. It becomes natural. And I'm not saying it's not hard work to get there, but it makes it more enjoyable instead of waking up and dreading the day, or, you know, it's a mindset shift, and it's so important how you handle things like that, I think.
Well, collaboration over competition.
Oh,
it
100.
is. We have to intentionally do that shift because
Mm-hmm.
for years, for millennia, we've been as women competing with one another as a survival mechanism. And now that's shifting, and we are able now to support one another. And what's the phrase, like a rising tide lifts all ships?
Yeah,
When one sister succeeds, we all succeed. And the same goes, if I succeed, you succeed. If you succeed, I succeed. So we can celebrate one another's success rather than saying, oh man, when do I get to have that?
Yeah, it really is. And I think what's important too is not always being the receiver of the support, you know. And I think for so long, And in life in general, I would pour my heart and soul into friendships, and sometimes would get burned. And then I would kind of get, well, fine, I'm just not going to make friends anymore. I kind of have that mindset thing, but not everyone's like that. And people go through seasons, and you know what? I may be that person one day that's like, give it all to me, give it all. I don't have the energy to give. But again, we all go through seasons that I feel like when we can give, we should give, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. So speaking of that, speaking of seasons, let's take that back into business. So, hi, buddy.
Hi. No, I'm not gonna do it right now. Motherhood.
I love it. It's like in real life, right?
Yeah.
You can probably hear my kids screaming out outside the door here too.
The best part is I said, do not interrupt me unless it's an emergency.
Right? You're like, I don't smell smoke.
No.
So, bringing the seasons back into business.
Mm.
What if a woman listening is in a season in her business where she is just feeling needy, where she's really in a struggle to give to her clients, which is like a winter, a feeling of I'm in winter and yet I have a business. How do I maintain my commitments, uphold what I said I would do, and yet honor this part of the cycle that I'm in, this winter phase?
I think it goes back to when you're going through a hard time in general, you got to find the small things in life that spark joy. And I have done that. And I am a perfect example. I have overwhelmed myself with clients where I've been like, why did I agree to working with this person for 6 months when I knew I didn't have the mental energy? And so I guess my thing is how I push through it is I find why I did it in the first place. And I know that sounds so generic, and I know it sounds so, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but your why is the biggest W, the what, who, when, where, what. It is the biggest for me because the why fuels me in no matter what topic in my life I'm thinking about. And whether it is the why is because you're so passionate about helping somebody go through something that you personally went through and it's so important to you, or because you realized what life was like after you tackled that big struggle and now you're put on this earth to help others through it. Or frankly, what if it's the money because you need to feed your children? What is your why? Is it because you need something of your own? And when you back up, and what I always encourage my clients is when they feel the burnout, when they feel that, my business is not growing, what is going on? I encourage them to step back and go, why did you start this in the first place? And if what you're doing now doesn't align with that, it's okay to back up and it's okay to redirect, take a different route. Of course, sometimes you're stuck in commitments or you've agreed to things that you do have to finish out, but you can go through it easier if you're keeping in mind the why and what you're going to do next. So say, for instance, you're working with someone on a year contract. I don't know. I just made that up. Yep. And you're 6 months in, you're like, I don't know if I can take this person anymore. Yeah. I would encourage them to say, or to look at, why did I agree to do this in the first place? Well, maybe it's because they paid me a lot of money and it helped me accomplish a financial goal. Or maybe it's because I thought I wanted to do it, but now that I'm in the weeds in it, it's not really what I want to do. And just make a mental note of that and go, good, I've learned that I don't want to keep going in this direction. So once I'm done with this person, I'm not taking on any more year clients. I'm not taking on any more clients in that field. Whatever it is where you're feeling stuck, where you're in the winter season of life or in business, use it as a learning opportunity. See if you can make a shift. If you can't because you're tied to a commitment, just think about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? This is so exciting. I get to change and do something now that I want to do. And that why and that looking ahead and that possible change can be enough to drive you and push you through it. And again, I go back to the baby steps. Baby steps lead to big results, no matter what topic it is in life. And so whether it is just doing the bare minimum that you agreed to do with this client, do that. But on the side, do something that brings you joy and that pushes you through to honor your commitments and get you to that next exciting thing.
I love that. Nicole is saying everything is an emergency to kids. Ha ha ha. And it reminds me of this. It reminds me of that self-soothing practice of just reminding myself, this is not an emergency. When things are feeling chaotic and there's homeschooling and then there's business and then there's dinner on the stove, just to remember, like, this is not an emergency. I can take a breath and I can actually slow down. Often when I'm in chaos, I feel like I need to speed up and have all the answers, but just reminding myself, take a breath, Isabel. Like you said at the top of our interview, you don't need to know. You don't need to have all the answers. Just taking the next step, and having a coach can be immensely calming to the nervous system, because I know I call my coach and I say, WTF. My child is driving me crazy. She's not a parenting coach. She's a business coach. She wants me away from the ledge. And I think just being able to bump up against your coach and to say, like, Jessica, remind me what my why is. Like, I forget. I have this client that I don't like anymore. It's so invaluable.
Yeah. And I think something else I wanted to touch on too is a lot of times, for some reason, we as women want permission, right? And I don't know why we do that. And not all of us, but a lot of us just want that permission. We may know what excites us. We may know what we want to do in our business or in our personal life, but being able to talk to someone about it and have them go, I think that's a good idea. I think you need to do that. Just brings a sense of calm and security for a lot of us that keeps us pushing forward. And I think it's really important. But again, it doesn't have to be a coach, doesn't have to be a mentor. It can be a best friend that's solid, that doesn't just tell you what you want to hear, right? It needs to be someone that inspires you, that you look up to, that speaks truth, that'll be real with you. But it doesn't have to be, like I said, a coach or a mentor, but it could be a good friend. But we do like that permission to help us move forward.
Yep. Jessica, you have so generously shared a gift with our community. Will you tell us a little bit about it? And then I will be sure to put the link in the comments.
Sure. So like I mentioned, I work with those that want to start a blog, or who have started a blog or an online business, and I help them grow that. That's what I'm passionate about. I started my business from the ground up and had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know what WordPress was or what any kind of website builder was. And so I've started from the very beginning and have turned it into a successful business. And now I'm passionate about teaching other women who want to do that and who want to grow their online business. So a lot of times I hear struggles from people. They'll say, I know I want to start a business. I know I want to start a blog, but would anyone read it? Or where do I even start? What would I write about? How do I know it'd be successful? So after hearing that for so many years, I created a workbook. It's called Blogging Fearless, and it helps you determine what your passions are, what your purpose may be, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And then it kind of takes all of the brain dumps that you do through this workbook. And at the very end, you should have a pretty good idea about what you could start a blog with or an online business, and how to take the next step to actually start it. It just kind of goes back to that permission thing. We just sometimes kind of need the hand holding and the permission to put all of our thoughts down on paper and then like solidify the decision for us. And that's what that workbook does. And I wanted to share that with everyone because I had a client the other day say, Jessica, that workbook that you made, I learned more from that than a $300 course that I did the other day. And I'm not saying that to pat me on the back. I'm just saying that's because it's focused on you. and what makes you happy, and it helps break it down before you jump into the big scary world of online business, and it arms you and prepares you for the next step. So I wanted to give that because I know how helpful that can be and how helpful it was for me starting out. So I'm hoping it helps all of you who are interested in that too.
That's so generous, and I know it will. I know women listening are just salivating to get that. So I encourage you to take that next baby step. Again,
Right.
I will put the link in the comments where you can find that amazing workbook. Jessica, before we say goodbye, is there anything else you want to share with the women today?
I think I would just say that in this day and age, if you are considering an online business or a blog, go for it, explore it, because I feel like, I mean, I've been in this for 10 years and I feel like it's just getting started with everything that's going on in our world, and people are forced to stay at home more. Take advantage of that opportunity. Use this as the perfect excuse, if you will, to launch, to move forward and take the next step. Because so many are, and you might as well get in while the iron's hot, or strike while the iron's hot, right? And push forward. And because if you never try it, you may look back in a few years and go, "Oh, what if I would have just started then?
Oh,
Where would it be now?" So I encourage you, don't let the fear hold you back. Um, Find someone that can support you and help you in that journey, whether it's a coach or a mentor or a solid best friend, and help you get there.
awesome. Okay, Jessica, thank you so much again, and I look forward to future conversations with you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.